Hey everybody, if you wonder where we were last week, it was Memorial Day. We weren't here, but guess what? We're back now. But there was a lot of racing going on that weekend. And we're going to talk a little about racing tonight on tonight's edition of The Professor and the People. My name is Scott Morganroth. I'm wearing an Andretti shirt. So for those of you wondering if I have a need for speed, you got it. And alongside me is my partner, Stephen Rochelle. Welcome back to the big show, Stephen.
Always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. Always a pleasure catching up.
Oh yeah. My right hand man here on the network is Steven. You got it. So all right, we gotta talk Hulk Hogan. We're gonna talk Aaron Rodgers, man. We're gonna talk some motorsports as we get the show going, and we'll lead it off with Hulk Hogan. Steven once wrestled 400 days in a year. He claimed in his 2009 autobiography, "My Life Outside the Ring," he attributed this to the frequent travel between the U.S. and Japan, suggesting that crossing time zones and the international dateline effectively extended his calendar year. If you're buying that, U.S. and Japan.
All lies! Come on, man. How many days are in a year, Scott? How many days are in a year?
How many days in a year?
Listen, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm not going to sit there and say I am, right? Yeah. But how many days are in a year again? I need a math lesson real quick.
Yeah, I know.
It's 365, right?
That. Well, I'm with you. I wasn't sure about the math either on this.
Let's do some stupid people math, right? So there's 365 days in a year. So how are you wrestling 400 days a year? I need to know. Hulk. Come on, man. Listen, he used to be everyone's idol. Like if you were a young child during the late 80s or early 90s, Hulk Hogan was the guy. Especially if you were a pro wrestling fan, he was the guy. But as the years go on and the stories start to build up, you kind of start seeing he wasn't the all-American dream. He wasn't. He was the guy that everyone pushed. He was the guy that the company pushed. Is he one of the greatest? Probably, but it's kind of skewed now because you kind of see the person that he is, and the lies are starting to build up and the things of that nature. And this blatant one right here, there's no way you can wrestle 400 days a year when there's 365 days in a year. I don't care what time zone what alternate universe you're going into, Hulk. It's not happening. That's not possible. Listen. I love what you did for my youth and things of that nature, but this is a big old pile of a horse's you know what. What do you think about this, Scott? I mean, obviously, this is our show. This is our back and forth. Can you look at somebody straight in the face and say, "Yeah, I believe Hulk Hogan wrestled 400 days a year because of his travel"? That would mean you would have wrestled less because of the time that you would spend to cross to fly over there. I don't care. You would, when you flew over there, you would have to be doing at least 3 shows a day.
All right. Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
You ever read the book by Jose Canseco called Juiced?
No, I haven't read Jose's book, but go ahead.
Doesn't matter. You know why?
Why?
Because this guy got Jose Canseco with him, and he's juiced, and that's why there's 400 days a year.
Listen.
You asked me a question, didn't you? Yes or no? Did you? The guy lives in hold on.
A lot of things, but a liar he is not.
Wait. The guy lives in Clearwater Beach, Florida. There's no shortage of vitamin D in this guy. Is there?
Listen, Jose Canseco's a lot of things, but he's not a liar. He's been upfront about just about every question that anyone's ever asked him regarding PED use and things of that nature. Hulk, you're now officially the biggest liar in sports entertainment history today, in the past, in the future. I don't think anyone's going to beat Hulk in this area. Love him to death. His view on things, especially when it comes to wrestling, is kind of skewed, and he was the company boy. That's all I got to say about that. Love him to death. Love what he meant for the era, to help kind of give birth to the Attitude Era, but come on, man, stop playing with me.
That guy ended up, listen, I took notice when he was in the Rocky films doing that thing with Rocky Balboa, but other than that, let's not kid ourselves. This guy, we know darn well he's on PEDs. And wrestling, yes, he definitely built to throw people around. I wouldn't want to be thrown around if I could help it either. But the reality is when I'm like you, the first thing that entered my mind was 400 days. And yes, there's only 365. Why do you think it's on the Professor and the People? Because it's not going to make any other show because you're a combat sports guy, right? Isn't he in combat sports, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's sports entertainment, but yes, I fall wrestling into combat sports just because of its sports entertainment, and you know, like I said, the only difference between some of the combat sports and what goes on in the WWE nowadays is the fact that it's not scripted; it's 100% real. Bare knuckle, UFC, MMA. Is it's about bridging that gap, creating that character that everybody wants to either see win or lose, and then the difference is there is an actual fight going to happen, not a scripted match. So that's probably the only main difference. But yeah, I kind of fall pro wrestling, WWE, AEW, whatever your promotion of poison is when it comes to sports entertainment. I do follow that under combat sports, in my opinion.
So that's why Hogan made tonight's show. All right, it's okay. We're getting started, people. Again, this Professor and the People. I'm Scott Morgan, Professor. He's the People. He's also working on reading my book, Lessons from the Microphone, which Candy's going to give you in a station break after this next segment. And, of course, tonight we have 108 Stitches Baseball Talk following. And, of course, Steve's going to talk about what he'll be doing this week. So Steve knows he has an assignment when Candy and I go out of town to the other end of the world that he'll make a little bit more progress on the book. I'm not really worried about it right now. He does some unbelievable things on the show. I've never seen a guy who's more energetic than this guy, that's for sure. When it comes to talking about collaborating on his show, this man is proud, and that is proud. And I am proud to have him as my right hand man. So I'll ask you a question. Want to race over at Indianapolis Motor Speedway? What do you think? Would that be the ideal adrenaline rush? What do you think?
Listen, when it comes to racing, there's two things. It's Daytona 500, and it is absolutely the Indianapolis 500. Those are the two big races here in the United States when it comes to professional racing in that matter. Obviously, I put our drag strip Top Fuel things into a different category because it's a 3 or 4 second run, and it all depending on how fast your car is. But yeah, man, it's kind of something that you have to experience. It's something I hope to experience at some point in time in my life, but it's being in that atmosphere is almost as close as to being at a combat sports event. It's there's a different type of energy when we're talking about Indy 500.
Well, I've been to a couple of those races, I've been to practicing, the qualifying, and it's unbelievable. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about new protocols for driver changes, only if there's a conflict. Okay, I'm going to talk about some. If you want to be a substitute driver, I'm going to tell you what it takes to be one. So that way you can put yourself in those chairs. And I've actually gone ahead and sat in one of those cars when I did a little ride along over at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's unbelievable when you talk about those cars versus a NASCAR. But we're going to go over new protocols for driver changes. Only if there's a conflict, a replacement driver is allowed if the original driver is racing in another marquee event with their main series or Indy 500. So what we have, this means is we've seen the daily double where guys have tried to do it. That's all this one basically takes. I'm going to read them off, and then you can just give me an overall assessment of what you heard. Second one, veteran drivers only. The sub must be an IndyCar approved veteran who passes the Indianapolis Motor Speedway refresher program on day one of the Indy 500 practice. Fair enough. Okay. So with that said, we're going to talk about tires are limited. No extra tires will be allowed for the refresher. Any used for it come out of the team's 32 event allotment. So there you go. We're talking about tires. Limited tuning is allowed. Teams can only make minimal setup changes during the refresher, no full-scale adjustments or performance tuning. A few more to go, Stephen. One run and done. Once a sub completes the phases of the refresher program, they're not allowed to run extra laps that session, even for data or setup. To the back of the grid. Once a team confirms the use of a sub, the entry's qualified position is forfeited. The car will start at the rear of the field, ordered by per rule. Get this 8.1.8.6. If you're in the lottery, you want a 4-digit number, I just gave it to you. I just don't want to know if you won. But if you did, more power to you. Hope you have a good accountant if the taxes come out, but I'm not in the accounting business, let alone the fact that I'm probably the worst mathematician on the planet. That's why we need Texas Instruments, and we need all these little computers that I can actually play with and actually be good at. And finally, the original driver can return if a team officially replaces a qualified driver. They can still put the original driver back in the car only if the replacement hasn't done more than a refresher session. Even if the original driver returns, the car must start at the back of the field. I gave it all to you, Stephen. What's your overall thoughts on what it takes to become a sub driver in the most famous course on the planet, Indianapolis?
Ridiculous, and it's nothing but a freaking headache. Think about this for a second. All right, think about this one for a second. Say you have a driver, and there is a conflict, right? There is initially a conflict, and maybe that the conflict was supposed to be on X day or B day, and there's something called nature, and there's a rain out, right? So the driver can now go back to his team. No, you can't go back to your team, because if you do go back to your team, where does your car go? To the back of the line, not even to where you qualified at. What world are we living in? It's all meant to punish somebody if there has to be a change. That's how I look at it. Like, listen, if I'm a replacement driver, everything's stacked against me. I'm gonna have to go beat the entire field. The original place where my car or the original driver ran into it gets pushed to the back of the field. And then the tire thing, man. Like, listen, tires are the most important thing in racing. Don't matter if we're talking NASCAR or IndyCar, it's the most important thing. And I'm sorry, I don't think you can have enough of it. The only thing I think there should be is there some official to make sure there isn't these are Indianapolis 500 approved, NASCAR approved, things of that nature. That should be the only stipulation put on tires. But the fact that you're basically punishing the driver and or the replacement driver for the fact that there has to be a change, it doesn't sit well with me. Like life happens sometimes. Sometimes everything does not work the way we want to. Then you can't tune the car. Then you can't. What else? What are you going to allow them to do? Like, come on. It's supposed to be an even playing field. If something happens in one of these races, it's meant to completely punish the team and the driver. What's the point? It's like, all right, you know what? We're out, guys.
Well, think about it. You have a substitute teacher takes over for regular teacher. That's when all the students know they get away with anything they want. So, pretty hard to debate what you're saying, especially when we know you're right.
I mean, so it's one of those things. Like, look, like I get it. You have to have rules in place for certain things, but let's not punish them to the point where it's like, what's the point of them even competing? Now they have to make sure that not only get back from the back of it, but a lot of times some of their sponsorship for these teams determine where they place. So not only are you hurting to their potential of competing and or winning the race, you're also hurting their pockets at the same time. So it's like one of these things that's like, what else are you going to pile on these guys or girls, depending on the driver, that they're going to have to overcome to be competitive? This is why a lot of times I think the American fans don't really tune into Indianapolis 500, because there's just so much could happen. Like at that point in time, I want to root for the guy that has everything changed, that he hasn't been racing. He's basically been like, all right, are we gonna, if the starting quarterback for whatever team gets hurt, are we now going to send him back 15 yards? Now it's going to be third. It's going to be 3rd and 30. All right, let's see what you can do, kid. No, we're not going to do, because it's absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
Listen, they need to do something with the powers that be need to kind of sit down. Like, we need to make our sport fun again, because no one wants to tune in for that. No one wants to
Right.
tune in for that. I love racing. I'll always love racing. It doesn't matter what aspect we're talking. If we're talking Indy, if we're talking F1, if we're
Right.
talking NASCAR, or if we're talking freaking drag racing. I love all aspects of it. I'm an absolute gearhead. I will always love that stuff. But it's stuff like this is why most of your American fans are just not. They do not care. If you ask me, where your most of your fans come from, as far as Indianapolis goes, or overseas, or
Mhm.
your European drivers, your European fans, your Italian fans, your Italian drivers. Those are the people that tune into this stuff, and I get that, but like at the same time, like you cannot continue to punish the teams, the drivers, and things of that nature, and expect to have this large turnout of people of popularity. It's why it's almost fallen by the wayside in a lot of aspects, at least in my opinion.
You know what? That opinion is so good. It's good enough to send Candy Ebling on here for a station break. But Candy, give you let me hear your thoughts about his opinion. This guy nailed this topic. He really did, didn't he?
He did. He did.
Yeah. Good job, Steve.
That's all off the top of my head. I didn't even look at the
Yeah, I
topics.
know. That's
I'm gonna be
okay.
dead
That's why.
honest.
That's why you're on.
I kind of
That's why
grazed through it and see what you were looking at. I was like, oh, I got this. I don't need to look up nothing on
top of
this.
your head. Obviously, I'm glad it was at the top of your head instead of the bottom of your head. You could really roll on it.
I can still pull it up.
I'm not worried about it. I don't care. It's okay. It's a good take. I think you're right on target. That's why we come up with the one thing that I've taught Stephen to do, and obviously he's learning the business as a journalist, is the key to this business, Stephen, and you know this well, is you have to be different. Okay, we're not going to throw out the obvious stuff out there. Where every now and then you got to reach in deep down inside to go out there and be different. Some people that I train get it, some don't, but obviously you do get it. And just like so, Candy, what are your thoughts about his take on this one? This is a pretty good take.
Yeah, I mean he's right on. It's good. I love the energy that he brings.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
All right.
when
Well,
you have something this ridiculous, you can't just be like, well, I don't agree with it and be all monotone. Like you have to bring all energy and everything in part of your life. And if you're not excited about what you're talking about, then what are you going to be excited about?
that's why you're my right hand man. SR. Good stuff. All right, Candy Station break.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by your host, Scott Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. It talks about his 40 plus years in the media business and how it has changed and evolved. Go get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you see the red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you haven't been subscribed to us yet. Honestly, I don't know what you're waiting for, so do it today. Hit it, like us, share it with all your friends and family. And then, if you want to advertise, call Scott 954-304-4941. And if you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Back to you, Scott.
Thank you, Candy. We'll talk about Aaron Rodgers. Let's talk about it. He was once given an ultimatum by Aaron Glenn, and he chose the Pat McAfee show with the New York Jets. This will be talked about tomorrow on Inside the Pigskin. Stephen and I get a heads up on it. Aaron Rodgers gets $1 million appearance fee as well, so it's not bad for an appearance fee to go on Pat McAfee. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are waiting his decision. And Terry Bradshaw's telling him, "Don't even bother with this guy." But we won't talk about that tonight. What are your thoughts about Aaron Rodgers choosing the appearance fee to stay with McAfee over the Jets?
Listen, I get the New York Jets was his employer and things of that nature, but who are you to sit there and tell them where? Like you guys tell them where they have to have media availability for the team. So why do you think when he's not there, you can tell him who he can't talk to as far as podcasts? Like, could you imagine that? Like, all right, you know what? One of the guys we work with, we have an athlete on here. Oh, you can't go on their show. Why? Right. This is an open market.
Right.
When we're talking about media doing interviews with athletes, these athletes want the most exposure they got, and right now, outside of Stephen A. Smith, Pat McAfee is the place to go to be on a large media network, and Pat has he's kind of changed the way the platform is working right now. So if you're an Aaron Rodgers, why wouldn't you want to have your voice, your opinion heard by one of the larger masses of media today? And let's be honest. Let's be real honest here. We know the New York Jets wasn't bringing him back. Let's be honest. Let's just be perfectly clear about that. He was after the injury, they came back, try to run it back one more year. When the whole regime change came in, there was a 0.01% chance that Aaron Rodgers was going back to the New York Jets.
Yeah.
As far as the Pittsburgh Steelers thing, I agree with Terry Bradshaw. Don't entertain it. Don't look at him. There's no need for that. You guys aren't competing. Hell, even they're already infighting and doing stuff right now because Darius Slade is already upset, and he's one of your veteran leaders that you just brought in, and he's not happy with how things are going right now either. It's a dumpster fire there in Pittsburgh. If they make the playoffs this year, it'd be a freaking miracle. And listen, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm calling down to the New Orleans Saints to see if I could steal some money out of them before I do. If anything, I don't know if he's going to come back this year. We'll probably find out as we get closer to OTAs. I know we just had the rookie camps for a lot of the teams, and you had your first set of team activities going on for the early start of training camp and things of that nature. But I mean, let's be honest. Aaron Rodgers are going to probably be a few weeks before our first preseason games, and wherever he's going to go, it's going to be catered to him. If you're Aaron Rodgers, why would you not reach out to Kellen Moore, not Pittsburgh?
Makes sense. Good point. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. But I agree. The Pittsburgh Steelers situation is a work in progress. But the main thing is, I'll tell you right now, is for me, he's entitled to make money wherever he's going to make it. So I don't think you can really sit there and go out and tell me that he should be able to do that for $1 million that they're willing to pay it to him. All right. So we'll end this show on this note. What's ahead for you this week, Steven?
Basically, tomorrow, prior to us doing Inside the Pigskin, I'm going to be talking to BKFC ice fighter Cameron Pound Brody is going to be jumping on. I'm working on trying to get a few more of these guys as we get down to the last 2 weeks prior to the first event down there in Michigan. Had a great interview last night with Andrew Nolan. He's I think you like him, Scott. He's a guy living off the grid, living off his his property. He's got a chicken coop. He collects rainwater, takes his syrup right from the tree sap and things like that. Like he's living off the land, man. So like that's he's living the American dream, but he's also one of these guys. He's about to get in the cage and get in the ring and compete in bare knuckle on the same day as the ice fight thing going on. Obviously, we're gonna have the Wednesday morning podcast with me and Ben on the Fan in the End, working on some fun stuff. Obviously, we got the giveaways going on right now with from the Jessica I interview. As I've already said, if you haven't seen the post, just basically shoot us a subscribe here at the South Florida Tribune. Head over to the interviews from the Real and the Rare, both from Jessica I and Lauren Murphy. Leave a fight prediction. Leave one of your favorite memories from one of their fights. Something you like about them. We're gonna pick some winners for these signed cards here. We got there's one from Jessica, and here's one from Lauren. That are signed cards that I got from them over the years. We're gonna do some giveaways, show some love to our valued supporters here at the channel, and looking for some new ones. Obviously, that's kind of the idea with that, and have some fun with that. I do have some more stuff in the works, as I've already told you, Scott, and Candy as well, that I'm going to keep that one a little bit close to the chest until we shoot the interview and get ready to launch it. It's a fairly big guess. I'm looking forward to catching up with this athlete. You guys are gonna miss it if you're not locked in. So make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your friends, share it with your uncle, share it with your sister. Make sure you have it. Everyone lock into what we're doing here at the South Florida Tribune Media Network. We're gonna continue to grow. We're gonna continue to have fun, and make sure you're locked in for everything that we're getting ready to do Tuesday afternoon on Inside the Pigskin, and don't miss the baseball program as we're getting ready to pop off of here in a few minutes as well.
Great stuff, Stephen. And one thing that I will mention that Steve and I are talking about, we got books available, books as well. Van and I have books. We'll get into that more as well as we continue to build this thing. Steve, obviously, is my right-hand man.
Here's Ben's book. For people that don't know, there's Ben's book.
Yeah, what about the other one that you're about to read?
It's got the bookmark over there, man.
All right. Well, I'll put the picture up that you have it. Oh, that's all right. Leave the bookmark. Candy will do it instead.
There you go, it's Candy. Thank you.
There we go. Our crack production expert, Candy.
I've already read Ben's book. I'm in the middle of reading yours.
I know. It's okay. We're going to make you smarter, but I'll tell you one thing. Nobody will ever get you more energy because you're A1 in my book, brother, among other things. His energy on the air, social media is off the charts. And he has as much energy as a lot of these Indy cars that we had. We talked about on the show. If you missed this show, it's all right. Watch it again. Listen, watch it again. We do it. You can catch it on iHeart or you can catch it on YouTube. Either way, we got some big heavy hitters on this show as well. So tonight we talked about Hulk Hogan, Motorsports, Aaron Rodgers, and Steve. Don't get any better than that. Baseball's coming up at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Steven and I will be back at it again tomorrow at around 8:30 for Inside the Pigskin. So, Candy, one more station break, and we're going to turn over to baseball shortly. Great job again, Steve. As always, you can see Steve and I every Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So, which is our lead into 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. All right, Candy, one last station break, and we'll get ready for our next broadcast.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, tuning into the enduring wisdom of visionary leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. Talks about his 40 plus years in the business and how it has evolved and changed. There's even a couple of pictures in there. One of a young Scott with a young Muhammad Ali. Another one with a young Scott and Chuck Wepner. For those of you that don't know who he is, the original Rocky. So go get the book, check it out. It's, like I said, it's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there's a plethora of great content. Go check it all out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you see that red subscribe button, hit it, like us, share us with all your friends and families. If you want to advertise or sponsor any of our shows, you can call Scott 954-304-4941. And if you want to be a guest, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Back to you.
Thanks, Candy. Well done again, Stephen, tonight. This professor and the pupil. Glad that we had a chance to talk about motorsports as well as some football. And last but not least, Hulk. I'm not a mathematician, Hogan, because I didn't know that there were 400 days a year. I thought there were 365. And maybe if we talk leap year, 366. Still trying to, I've never really been good at math, but is that new math? I don't know.
That's the Hulk Hogan math. I'm telling you, man. Like, listen, like I was saying, like I loved him when I was younger and I was blind to the stuff that's going on in the world, and everyone with 2 cents in their head knows that he's a part of that PED culture. I got no problems with pro wrestlers using PEDs as long as they're not attacking their their fellow wrestlers and not putting them in bad positions. But other than that, man, like, what's the point of making these ridiculous stories up? What do you gain from it? You're just gonna have a whole match full of people now that thinking you're a total a-hole, which is looking like it's kind of true. Like, I mean, you're hearing stuff like a lot of guys in the business don't like him because of like things that he's done outside of the ring, not just business wise, just as a person, as a human being. I used to love him, but now it's like one of those things. It's like it's kind of hard to root for him at this point in time.
Wait. New math. I guess maybe the next thing Hulk Hogan should do, well, he's selling a book. That's why it's 400 days instead of 365. And what they do in Clearwater is maybe he'll do it as collect seashells right on the beach. Although Clearwater Beach is one of my favorite beaches ever with that beautiful white sand. I love Clearwater Beach. You get there anytime I can do it. So, meanwhile, that does do it for the Professor and People Night. Steve and I will be back at it next Monday night, same time, same place. So we'll be back at it tomorrow night on Inside the Picture. So on behalf of my partner, Stephen Reichel, this is Scott Morgan, Rough Motor City Madmouth. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next Monday down on this show and tomorrow night on Inside the Picture. And thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Good night now.